Good morning. This is a great Wednesday morning here in Cypress, Texas. The rains are stopped for at least a little bit. We had a lot of rain yesterday and we're looking to a wet weekend ahead. But as I was on my morning run today, I was kind of reflecting on the training that you need to run a 5K or a sprint race, one that's a lot shorter. We have a little over 3 miles. You can kind of gauge yourself little by little and say, okay, in this first mile I want to do a certain pace, and then that last mile, can I keep up that same pace from the first one? I also think about the training for a marathon. When you go out and you run 3 miles, and 6 miles, and 10 miles, then a half marathon, 13, and then you get into the 16 to 18 to 20 miles of training. It's a lot of work, and it's a very different feel on your body. And then on the next day as you recover from that training run. So I was thinking, right now, are we in training for a sprint? We think this COVID-19 reality is going to go away quickly? Or are we in this for a marathon? Are we anticipating weeks and months more of live streaming? Are we anticipating weeks and months more of fewer face-to-face activities? And how is that going to change our ministry? How's that going to change your relationships with friends and family that maybe some of them you haven't seen in 6 or more months? I want to encourage you today, whether we're training for a sprint or a marathon, the Apostle Paul reminds us that at the end of our lives, that God will call us home for those who trust in Him. And the end of our lives is going to feel like a race that has been finished. And sometimes we're going to be in practices that are very much a sprint, where you're trying to figure things out very quickly. If you're responding to a natural disaster or a change with your income or a change in your lives, a medical diagnosis. Or is this more like a marathon, where we're going to have day-to-day things that we need to do, day-to-day ways that we see we can serve and we can love and we can support one another. And for COVID-19, what I thought was going to be a nice and quick sprint, we were going to figure out how to get past this. It's nothing like that at all. We're seeing schools now delayed in opening, some around the country that aren't even going to be open the rest of this year in 2020. Had a long board meeting for our school system yesterday, discussing the safety of our teachers and staff and students. So when we make plans for a marathon, there's a lot of considerations. You can't just get past it. You can't just move and expect things to happen quickly, but it's going to happen over many weeks and months of training, but also in prayer. So as you are preparing for this marathon, pray. Ask God for guidance and wisdom of the steps you need to make, of the choices that may seem very difficult right now, but are needed in the long run. Remember running my first marathon, I got to that 20 and 22 mile prep runs and I said, what is the point of this? You know, these hurt my body, they kill me for a couple of days. I'm not able to get out anymore. But then when it came to that 26 mile marathon in San Antonio, it was 85 degrees, humid that day. When I hit mile 22, my body hit a wall. I was aching in places I had never hurt before. And I was starting to rub in places. If you've ever run a long distance, you know that rubbing is an issue. And so I was struggling through those last 4 miles just to finish the race. So be encouraged that God will give you the strength that you need to finish this race. That you have others walking alongside you and with you and to encourage you. May God be with you today. Strength to run the race now and into eternity. We'll see you soon.